Okay. Hi everybody. So a couple videos ago I did ways that you can be a better girlfriend to your partner. And today, as promised, I'm gonna do ways that men can be better to their partner. As with the other video, I'm gonna preface this one by saying the purpose of this video is to take a general collective idea and to talk about it. So obviously there's going to be some generalizations. We're going to touch on some stereotypes, you know what I'm saying? But the number one thing, and I talk about this a lot, I've touched on it a couple of times in some of my videos. If you want to be a better man, you got to stop lying. I just feel like the word man and lie are contradictory. It just doesn't make sense to me. I just don't understand how you can call yourself a man and be a liar as well. What reason do you have to lie? First of all, if you're doing something that you're gonna have to go and lie about later, you have no business doing that in the first place. Two, I just don't feel like it makes sense to call yourself a man and to try to demand like the respect as a man or this or that, and you're not even man enough to stand on what it is you feel, you believe, you've done, whatever. Because every little thing that we do in life, you have a choice to do it. And if you're not thinking about the consequences of your actions before you're doing it, first of all, you're a fool. You should be able to sit and be like, if I do this, what's gonna happen? If there are gonna be negative consequences, but you decide that whatever it is that you want on the other side of that action is worth it, then you need to go for it. You know what I'm saying? And even though this video is about men, lying, I don't think anybody should be lying. Because when it comes to women, I'm like, why are you lying? We're too powerful and feminine and just like cute to be lying. Women shouldn't lie. But then when I think about men lying, I'm like, that doesn't make any sense either. Are you a man or not? If you did something, say you did it. If you feel this way, say that's how you feel. Like, for instance, let's just talk about cheating. If you're the type of guy who believes that you have to have, or maybe you just want multiple girlfriends, or you don't want to be in a committed relationship, you don't want to commit to one girl, then say that. If you're not man enough to say that, I don't think you're man enough to be in a relationship with one girl, let alone multiple girls. That's just me. I mean, I don't know whether to call that logic or it is what it is. Okay, you're in a committed relationship, exclusive, you know you're supposed to be with this one girl, and then you go home and your girl asks you about it and then you lie. It doesn't matter to what degree. The fact that you weren't able to look her in the eye and be a man about whatever it is that's going on, that's a problem. You were man enough to sit there and make the decision knowing it was gonna hurt your partner, and you decided to sleep with this person, hold hands, kiss, go on a date, with texting this person, whatever it was, you were man enough to make that decision, right? So now you got to be man enough to stand on it and tell this person, hey, I did this, and then you got to accept the consequences of your actions. That's on you, brother. That's on you, my guy. I mean, but in general, you know, lying doesn't have to only do with relationships. How can you be a good partner if your partner doesn't know who you truly are? If you're always lying to them, if you don't tell them how you really feel. Stop lying. Men who lie, boo, tomatoes. Number two, this is something I see women complaining about all the time on social media, and to be honest, I'm feeling it a little bit lately. Oh no, that's what we're not gonna do. Do not disturb, because I'm on a roll. I think men can stand to be a lot more considerate and a lot less nonchalant. I know traditionally there's this trope, right? The cool guy, the nonchalant guy, the guy that doesn't care. And then on the other side, there's this fear for men being simps. So they don't want to be considerate. They don't want to be romantic. We gotta dead that. We gotta dead that. Because the consensus, general consensus between me and a lot of other women seems to be, we don't want nonchalant guys. We actually want the full chalant. We want extra chalant. I like them chalant. I like them, the base to be chalant, the filling to be chalant. I want the icing to be chalant, and then I want the sprinkles on top to be very chalant. I want a very caring man who is considerate of me and my feelings. I don't want to text you and you giving me dry responses. I don't want me to ask you a question or ask for your opinion and you give me a dry response. I don't want you to see me dressed up and I put in all this effort for you and you just say, yeah, you look good. No. Also, when it comes to that whole debate that you see on social media probably all the time. So one will be a conversation where the guy's like, oh, you can come over if you want, and the girl's like, do you want me to come over? And he's like, if you want to. And she's like, but do you want me to come over? And then everyone's going back and forth and like, oh, but he said this, and the girl's like, oh, but he didn't, blah blah blah. Okay, look, the conversation has gotten to be a little too much. The point is, a girl just wants to know you want them there, that you thought about them, okay, that what you want is them. And so in order to avoid confusion and complication and that whole discussion and argument, yes, I think it's a petty argument, and I think people have overcomplicated it so much. But the point is, if you want to avoid that, you could simply just say what it is that you mean and mean what it is that you said. Men and women, we have different kinds of ways that we operate on a genetic level. And so if you want to see a girl, if you want to see somebody, just say, hey, I'm thinking about you. Hey, I want to see you. Hey, I blah 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 blah. It's not about, oh, if you want to. Someone telling me like, you can come over if you want to, versus, hey, come over, I want to see you. That's totally different energy, and you're gonna get totally different response. If you want to be a better partner and you want your partner, your girl, to feel like those butterflies inside and all like kicking her feet, my man, my man, my man, the same way a girl wants to be shown off, guys like to be shown off too, you know. I know y'all do. Can't even sit here and try to tell me y'all don't. And the way you do that is to be considerate. I feel like that's an easy concept, no? Do things that you know he or she wants to do without having to be told to do it is the thing. Show that for no reason at all, even, you were thinking about this person. You were thinking about their happiness, you were thinking about their feelings, you were thinking about their mental and physical health. And so without having to be told to, without having to be asked to, I thought of you and I decided to do this. Very nice. Oh, just know that being a nonchalant guy, that's out. Number 3, and I feel very passionately about this in general. Obviously, if you want to be a better partner, the key is going to be to work on yourself. And in 2024, I don't think enough people are doing it still, and I do think it's a problem. In female culture, and I say female because I don't want to even limit this to just humans, the understanding is just that we're supposed to be pretty, we're supposed to be well put together, we're supposed to be this and that. And then males, they're allowed to be rough, they're allowed to be a little chaotic, they're allowed to be a mess, you know, whether it's physically like you look a little scruffy, or just like your lifestyle, like your room's messy, your video games are all over the place, whatever. But girls, women, females, we're supposed to be prim and proper, we're supposed to be sleek, clean, chic, all those things. And I think because of that, we have fostered an environment where women tend to be a lot more self-aware and willing to put in the work to work on themselves, whether you're aspiring to marriage or not. Just the culture, women culture, we like to read books about ourselves, we like to go to school, get degrees. Women are taking care of themselves, self-care, skincare, going to the gym, drinking water, eating healthily. Like that's such a big thing in pop culture right now, popular culture. Whereas, and I'm not saying a lot of men don't, but I think a lot of men can do more to take care of themselves. Getting up and actually putting some effort into doing your hair and washing your face. I can't tell you the amount of times that I've come across a guy and I just look at him and already I can kind of tell he doesn't put a lot into his appearance, which is okay. But to me, that doesn't give grown man energy. If you're not willing to even put any energy into you physically, then I'm already wondering emotionally, mentally, what's going on in there. Because if you can't even be bothered to wake up in the morning and brush your hair, or to just like wipe the crust off your face, if I can't trust you to take care of yourself physically, I don't trust you to be taking care of yourself up here. I don't trust you to be able to take care of me as well. And I certainly don't trust you to be able to lay down with you, create offspring, and that you're gonna take care of me and the kids as well. I don't know, I'm too old for that at this point. I don't, Your appearance matters. I don't care what anybody says. Yes, what's on the inside counts more. Physical looks can only take you so far, but at the end of the day, the first impression that you give off to somebody is going to be what they see. And this goes for the men on the other side, the ones who are very good looking, but on the inside, y'all ain't We don't want that either. We not looking for y'all. You have to have, like I said earlier, emotional maturity, emotional intelligence, emotional regulation. Men love to say that women are emotional, but I beg the biggest differ. I beg the biggest differ. That whole argument that men are not emotional is so outdated. First of all, there is a whole spectrum of emotion. Women are more likely to cry or like to show their sadness. Sadness is not the only emotion. I would argue that men tend to be more like joyful creatures and men tend to be more angry creatures. I don't see women crashing out over Call of Duty and throwing the joysticks at the TV. I lost my train of thought. Okay, yes. Emotions. It's not a flex that you don't cry. It's not a flex that you're not emotionally available. Nobody wants an emotionally unavailable partner. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like there aren't toxic women out there who will tell you you're not a man if you cry, why are you acting like that, be a man, blah 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 blah. Disgusting. Don't be with them because that's not how that works. That's not how that works. If you are the type of guy who is looking to lead a family, you want to be in a relationship and be the leader, I just don't feel like that's something that you can say, let alone do, if you are not working on yourself. You have to do the work. That's like trying to say you want to be the CEO of a company, but you don't know anything about running a business. What have you done to build that foundation to make you a good CEO? What have you done to make yourself a good man, worthy of a good woman, and if you aspire to a family? If you've done nothing, then you're not worthy of that title in the first place. To be a leader, to lead a house, to lead a woman, to lead a partner, to lead anything. I think there's this misconception. A lot of men, you listen to these podcasts and you let them gas you up and think that because you're a man, that inherently makes you a leader, and it doesn't. That just because you have certain genitals that you're entitled to certain benefits in certain respects that you have not earned. And I'm saying this from personal experience. You don't get to enter into a relationship and start treating people certain ways and saying certain things and demanding certain things when you haven't earned it. You know what I'm saying? Like, at the end of the day, you sound crazy. You sound insane, actually. And a lot of things I think a lot of women are happy to do. We're happy to give. We're happy to reciprocate. But again, you have to put in the work. You don't, like I said, you don't get to just come around here and be like, I'm the man, you got to do this. I'm the man, you better respect me. What I say goes, and you have to do what I say. And first of all, whoa. Okay, that's going down a different path. A good woman would not even enter into a relationship and let a man treat her like that, because who are you? Why do you feel like you get to come sit at that table having done no work as a man, simply existing as a man, and that you're already entitled to be the leader of a household? You don't, is what I'm saying. So y'all need to work on yourselves just as much as I feel like the female community, we've been working on ourselves for years, decades now. And that's what's gonna make us a dynamic duo. Be better listeners. I think there is a huge lack of communication in a lot of people's relationships, and I think part of the problem is a lot of people don't listen. They listen to respond, or they don't listen at all. And I think particularly with men, a lot of times there's not active listening going on the women's side, and we're not here to talk about the women, but I do think that a lot of women could stand to be a little bit more situationally aware when they get to talking and babbling. But again, this goes back to that whole being honest thing. If you feel like your partner is talking too much, talking your ear off, you're busy and they're not paying attention, and you're doing something and they're interrupting, you need to say something about that. I would hope that you like their personality and you don't mind listening to their stories. You don't mind letting them vent, you know, every once in a while. But when said person is talking to you, you need to be listening actively. Some of the most attractive things a man can do, in my opinion, is to pay attention. And it doesn't matter if you're like visually paying attention or just listening to the things that I say. When a guy is trying to show me that he's interested in me and he says stuff and I'm like, I remember saying that in a conversation, and he brings it up later, he's like, yeah, because I know you told me you blah 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 blah, or you told me years ago that you did this. I'm like, he was listening. That's very attractive to me. That is very attractive to me. Or I've had a coworker, a guy who was a coworker, I don't remember what, if he said something or he bought me something, he's like, yeah, because I noticed that you have a glitter screen protector, and I noticed that the license plate on my car, the license plate tag, it's glitter. It's like sparkly. He was like, I noticed you like glitter because I've seen blah blah blah. And I was like, he's paying attention. I like that. I like that. If you are the type of man who doesn't like to stand up to your partner, I think that's a huge problem. Say what you mean what you say, and stand up for yourself. This is an issue that I hate. As a girl with brothers, I have a lot of men in my family, and I don't look at life with a biased perspective. I don't applaud women abusing men. I don't applaud women having like this power dynamic over men, or like having this dictator type relationship. The same way I don't like men treating women bad, I don't like women treating men bad. There are types of relationships where the woman runs the house, and that's okay if that's what you want, if that's the dynamic that works for y'all. But if you're being bullied, that's a whole nother something. You need to be assertive, you need to be stern. You're entitled to your own space, you're entitled to hang out with your friends, you're entitled to whatever. Now, if you're a family man and you're married and you got kids and you've got all these responsibilities, life works a little bit different for you, brother, at that point. But as the young, fun, vibrant beings that we are, we're all entitled to have a good time in this lifetime and the next and the past one. Like, if a woman or your partner is encroaching on your personal freedoms or ways of being, you need to say something about that. If she's being disrespectful to you in front of your friends, or maybe to her friends, you're not there but you know she is, you need to say something about that. I feel very strongly about this. Do not propose to a woman that you don't want to be married to. I don't care what society says. I don't care what your parents say. I don't care what her parents say. I don't care what she says. Do not ask for commitment from a woman who you don't want to commit to. I've spoken to lots of men who have said they only got married because the girl got pregnant. They only got married because the girl's parents wanted them to, because the girl gave him an ultimatum. Out of all the things I've encountered in my life, that makes some of the least sense to me. You pledge your life to another person and you don't even like this person.
I beg your pardon?
You don't even genuinely want to be with this person for the rest of your life. I just don't understand. Any man that you have to give an ultimatum, do this or I'm leaving, marry me or this, marry me or that, I would never ask for that. I would just leave. Because a man knows if he wants to marry you or not. No answer is an answer. That being said, men, if you don't want to ask her, that means you don't want to be married. For whatever reason, you're still with her, but you don't actually want to marry this woman, don't marry that woman. Do not do that to yourself or the woman or anybody else. But don't sit there and put yourself in a situation to be miserable for the rest of your life because now you have this insufferable woman laying next to you. She's not grateful. She treats you wrong. She doesn't talk to you nicely. She's very demanding. She's very high maintenance. Whatever it is. No. Like I said, I'm not biased. I don't care nothing about it. Thank you. I gotta fix myself for this one. I saved this one for last on purpose because it's so important. Men, you have to have discipline. Now, I'm talking about discipline in general, but I'm especially talking about sexual discipline. I'm not going to be the one to sit here and preach on this topic because I'm not a man. I've never experienced being a man. I don't know the physical sensations and feelings that you guys go through, but I do know that both as a human in general and as a woman, men who lack discipline and sexual discipline are extremely unattractive. That to me is the #1 no-go. It's a no-go. If you feel like you need to be laying down with everything, walking, anything with a hole, we're adults here. It's very unattractive to me. If you don't have enough discipline to do the things that you said you're gonna do, you said you're gonna take out the trash and you didn't, you said you were gonna fix the sink and you didn't, you don't have enough discipline to be mindful and you remember trash day, like you missed a trash day, you're letting your body go. I don't like men who are irresponsible. I don't like men who are not disciplined. It's not adults to me. It's not adult grown man vibe. You have to be disciplined. You have to have sexual discipline. Glasses or no glasses? There's no camera. It makes me look intellectual. But the blue light is actually really bothering me. We a bit toasty in here. In my room. My room is a wee bit toasty. I got a ball. Can be a better. Y'all see that? Okay. Wait, what? Can it be? Do I see? Dear God. Okay, because the middle part was acting like. No.
Hey, yo, wind it up slow.